Hi, I'm Nirvani Devchiran. I live in Cape Town, South Africa. My great-great-grandfather came from India to South Africa in the late 1800s. He came with his two sisters. They worked as indentured laborers in Durban on sugarcane fields.
Through the 1800s, thousands and thousands of Indians made dangerous journeys on ships to far-off British colonies in West Indies and Africa in search of a better life, or that is what they were promised. These men and women and children could take scant possessions with them on these crowded one-way passages, and so, when they started their lives afresh on foreign shores, they only had their culture and traditions as tokens of the land they came from. And they guarded this with pride. Generations down the line, their descendants celebrate their Indian origins, and the younger among them are bent on preserving their roots.
Hi, my name is Roshni Sharma. I'm a spatial analyst based in Sydney, Australia. I am an Australian Indian, but my ancestors primarily came from Fiji. So in the 1800s, the colonial British had an agreement where they would take people, sometimes by agreement, sometimes by force, to various places for various reasons. My ancestors were part of the group who were taken to Fiji, and this was primarily for the purposes of growing sugarcane.
We know very little of their lives in India, unfortunately, and not great records were kept, even of their birth dates or the actual ports that they left from. So we've tried tracing back our history and only go back to a point. My great-great-grandfather's name, or my maiden surname, is Roy, and there's been a bit of a myth going around, and we're still trying to establish whether it's a myth or it's actually the truth. Apparently he was really fair-skinned, so when he worked in the sugarcane fields, his face would get red, and the Afrikaners couldn't pronounce the Indian name. So they started calling him Roy, R-O-O-I, which is Afrikaans for red. So there's a myth that is how our surname came into being.
My ancestors had experienced a lot of poverty. For example, my parents, who grew up in Fiji in the 1950s, 60s, 70s with their siblings, they used dibiri batti, kerosene lanterns, to study in the evenings, but before school and after school they had to work in the sugarcane fields.
I am an Indian. I identify myself as an Indian, dressed as an Indian. Indians were part of the disadvantaged group in South Africa during the apartheid regime, so we didn't get all of the benefits as the white person did. So for us, when democracy was born in 1994, it was extremely liberating for us.
We speak Hindi at home. We do daily pujas in the morning before leaving the house. Not that we leave the house very much with COVID these days. We also celebrate a number of religious festivals through the year. So Ram Navami, Krishnashtami, Hanuman Jayanti, Navratri and Diwali, Pitru Pak, all of these things we understand the meaning of and understand the metaphoric value that it has in helping us to live better lives, but also the spiritual value it has. These Indian festivals are really important to our sense of identity as well.
We have many temples in South Africa. There's quite a lot of people that would actually go to temples. We celebrate a lot of the Indian festivals that are celebrated in India. So my wedding was a full-on Indian wedding. Still wear Indian clothes. Costs us a fortune in South Africa to buy Indian clothes. It's all imported, right, from India.
People understand as well that it's really easy to lose these things. If you don't put in the effort to maintain your language and culture, it will fade away. And once it's gone, it is really hard to get back.
Definitely an Indian, Indian South Africa. That's the roots, and that's who I am.
The Fiji Indian community in Sydney, I'm really proud to say, make the effort to maintain their language and culture.